Hello, and welcome to Achieving the Dreams Technology Solutions webinar. Before we begin, we're just going to take a few moments to explain how the GoToWebinar technology works. In particular, I'm going to show you some of the features that allow us to allow this presentation to be more interactive. You should see the control panel pictured on your screen right now. If you don't, it's because it has been minimized, and you can pull it back out by going to the Grab tab, which hides and shows the control panel. There is also an attendee list where you can see all the participants on the call. If you have a question, you can raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon on the control panel, and I will chat you. Another way to participate is through the question pane, where you can type your question, and I can read it to the group where appropriate or respond privately. All the panes can be expanded or minimized by clicking on the plus or minus button that are at the top left of each pane. In the past, we have had some audio trouble. If for some reason you're having difficulty being heard, you will want to make sure that you're not muted on your personal phone and that you've entered the audio pin provided to you at the beginning of the call. If that doesn't work, you can hang up and call back in to be sure to enter the audio pin.
This is Lisa Nitsa, and we are very pleased to have everyone with us today. Sorry for the slightly late start. We'll allow ourselves to run over a few minutes on the tail end so that we don't cut any of this short. I'd like to introduce the Achieving the Dream staff that have contributed to this. They are Caitlin Donnelly, Carrie Henderson, and Melanie Mulvey. And we are very excited to be having the topic that we have today, which is a leader in every seat, 7 habits for college students succeeding in college and life. I'm the Vice President for Strategic Partnerships, and part of what we are doing with Strategic Partnerships in the Achieving the Dream network is finding case studies that we can highlight where technology has enabled our colleges to improve their student success outcomes. We are increasingly understanding that the solutions that our colleges are seeking have a technology component to them. It's only a component. The real secret is the people in conjunction with the technology. But learning about the technology and how it can help, we're finding is something that all of our colleges are very interested in. So we're really pleased to have a wonderful leader college with us, Alamo, and their partner in this, Franklin Covey. I'd like to introduce the panelists that you'll be hearing from today. Dr. Joe Carroll Fabianke, who's the Vice Chancellor for Academic Success at Alamo. Dr. Adelina Silva, Vice Chancellor for Student Success at Alamo. And Michael Ockey, the Director of Higher Education from Franklin Covey. After the presentation by all three, we will open up the call for questions, so please be thinking about what questions you might have for the panelists, and we'll have about 10 minutes for that once they're finished. At this point, I'd like to turn things over and have Alamo Colleges take it from here.
Thank you. This is Adelina Silva, and it is my pleasure to join you today from the Alamo Colleges in San Antonio, Texas, where we are home to San Antonio College, Palo Alto College, St. Philip's College, Northwest Vista College, and Northeast Lakeview College. And we are pleased to be participating today as the Alamo Colleges have been associated with Achieving the Dream since its very beginning for over a decade, and we are currently a Leader College member and have been for approximately 4 years. We also have partnered with Franklin Covey in several leadership development areas that you'll hear about during the course of this session. Our 5 individually accredited institutions that make up the Alamo Colleges enroll over 60,000 credit students per semester at our 5 colleges and our off-site locations. And basically at the Alamo Colleges, our major focus is on student success. We're helping students identify a career pathway and earn a certificate and degree has been our major focus. We've adopted at the Alamo Colleges the Alamo Way, which is our educational philosophy that drives students and employee and organizational success throughout our colleges. Our strategic objectives are listed here. Our student success, basically underpinned with the Achieving the Dream. Our principle-centered leadership is our other objective, and our performance excellence, where we're guided by our Baldrige criteria for performance excellence. So those basic objectives is what our Alamo Way is all about. At the Alamo Colleges, our student leadership journey began back in the year 2000 when we established our Student Leadership Institute. It is a comprehensive leadership training program that involved, at the time, students from all of our 4 colleges. We had 4 colleges at the time when we were setting up the program. And recently, I'd say probably the last 5 years, we've incorporated the 7 habits of highly effective people training into the Institute. Now, for the past 14 years, we have had approximately 100 students per year. And we have different tiers, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. And the first tier is an entire 9-month program. Tier 2 is the following of that. And Tier 3 incorporates internships and shadowing and some community leadership workshops that we've done in the past. What we have experienced through this leadership program or institute is high student satisfaction rates with our program, and our SLI, as we call them, graduates, experience higher graduation rates than our overall student population, and higher grade point averages and persistence and retention rates. So when students are involved in the student leadership, it reflects in everything else that they're doing. I have listed here some student voices, some of the impact that our various alumni have shared with us. The first one here, one of the pieces that they insist on is that leadership is a must, and it sets the strongest foundation for you to get started, whether you're creating a business or transferring or going to work. It is about a strong foundation. Our second student voice speaks to how they learned and developed leadership skills that will serve them in life and in the workforce, which we definitely have that reflection from employers as well. Our next voice of students talks about learning skills and abilities that better equip them to perform. And when they have this visualizing end result of being a leader, worker, a leader, and not having been able to gain this education and training had it not been in our Student Leadership Institute. So those are all positive feedback from our students. This next chart lists the leadership competencies that are covered in our current SLI program. And we currently have the leadership program as we offer it now, and we're expanding it. You'll hear more about that. We currently have it online. We have it in face-to-face. We have it for credit. One course, a speech class for credit. If they've already had the speech class, they have it for non-credit, and they also have it for an online mentoring between the SLI teacher and the student. Back in 2012, in the summer of 12, our Chancellor and our SLI leadership team organized a business industry community forum, and we held it back in the summer of 2012. And what we basically wanted to do then is to not only gather information on updating our Student Leadership Institute curriculum, or finding out if that was in fact something that we wanted to change or enhance, but also we were trying to gather information on the workplace preparedness for our graduates that community or other educational members in the community or industry would want to share with us about
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an organizer and may now speak to any other
employers and educators to try to get feedback. We got results back from them and listening to what they were saying. The industry partners, the business partners said, this is great for this control group, but we really would like for all Alamo College students to have this. We want to not only have the few hundred per year, but while you've graduated so many good students that have subject matter and technical training, it would be wonderful if you could expand that, and because we need it, to have workplace readiness and workplace leadership skills as well to go with that. So we learned from them that while we were calling them in the past soft skills, they were really essential skills. Our employers and our industry partners were saying the type of skills that are essential in the workplace is not only the educational training, but also skills that we are now calling essential skills, but include areas such as problem solving and work habits, teamwork, personal integrity, reasoning. So we wanted to work from not only the technical skills that everybody was getting in the coursework, but not only soft skills, work skills, but now we're naming them essential skills at the Alamo Colleges. That's what we're calling them. Now, the Alamo Colleges leadership team, that would be our chancellor and our presidents and our vice chancellor, proposed moving forward, taking leadership to scale at the Alamo Colleges, and proposed to the Board of Trustees that we adopt an educational philosophy, and they did. And it includes student success. It includes the continuous improvement as a theory of action, which are organizational pieces, but they added leadership. And as I've mentioned earlier, the Alamo Way objectives are student success, principle-centered leadership, and performance excellence. Now I'll turn over the presentation to my colleague, Dr. Jo Carol Fabianke, who will proceed with the presentation.
Hello, good morning, and thanks for joining us. You know, the leadership across the district said if we're going to lay the foundation for principle-centered leadership, we really need to start it with employees. So there was a commitment to train all employees in the 7 habits, the equivalent of 2.5-day training. We began to use the language and materials, both with employees and with students. An example is onboarding processes as students go through the admission and registration processes. Following the policy decisions by the board and the change in the Alamo College's strategic plan, we also added leadership as an objective to the core curriculum objectives defined by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. Basically, we are encouraging principle-centered leadership across the curriculum in various classes because we believe this is a vital way to share essential skills. Many faculty who have been through the 7 Habits training have shared that they already have these concepts in their classes. They just may not have been using the vocabulary. Also, deliberately infusing the language and concepts in co-curricular activities. The idea is that students will experience principle-centered leadership all during their time at the Alamo Colleges. So we wanted to lay the foundation for this, and so in our discussions with our Franklin Covey partners, we considered how to get the leadership principles started with students. When we started in Achieving the Dream in the first cohort in the early 2000s, our colleges had a student development course for first-time in college students. An initiative was to really support the entering student, so it became a requirement across the colleges for all entering students, full-time, part-time, day and evening, to take this course. The results were remarkable, and I'll share those in just a minute. So we shared with Franklin Covey that students are, this is a great course, but students aren't necessarily excited about this requirement. So some work to avoid this course, and we are continually trying to ensure that everyone who is supposed to take it actually completes the course. So we were asked by Franklin Covey, what if we work with you and create materials for this student success course and provide videos and extra materials, focusing on the learning outcomes that we identify, and make it so good students may say it was the most helpful course they ever took. So we said yes, absolutely, and we decided we would lay the foundation for principal-centered leadership with this requirement, and students will have a good introduction as they move to other courses. So we currently, as I said earlier, have 2 levels of student development. Now the 0170 has been for students who are college ready and need only 1 or 2 college preparatory levels, developmental education of a subject like math. The 0370 was for students who have multiple areas of college preparatory requirements, maybe math and reading or reading and writing. The blue, you will see, are the percentage of entering students who successfully complete one of the student development courses. The green represents the students who withdrew from the course, and the red are the percent of entering students who successfully complete one of the student development courses. And this shows you the productive grade rates in other courses based on their performance in this student development course. As mentioned earlier, unfortunately, we do have a control group, and that's those that managed not to take one of these courses. So as an example, in fall of 2011, 85% had successful grade rates. 36% who did not pass the course had only 36%. 16% of the entering students who dropped this student development course only had 16% successful grade rates, and those who did not take it had 69. So 85 to 69 tells you the extent of influence this course has on our students. In the next slide, you'll see that we of course have to concentrate on persistence because we can't get students through their course of study if they don't stay. So the top shows you fall to spring persistence, the bottom fall to fall. Again, for those students, entering students who completed the course, one of the courses, versus those who did not take the course. And there is a significant difference. So we know that this course is really vitally important to all of our students' success. So in our partnership with Franklin Covey, we shared with them the learning outcomes for these 2 courses, and we worked with them to align the SLOs with the 7 habits. Franklin Covey used that as some form of basis for developing the 7 habits of highly effective college students. The 7 habits implementation for us has been that we introduce the materials to all faculty teaching one of those student development courses, or we have recently introduced a learning framework course. 16 of our faculty are using it as supplemental material this semester with 675 students, and we'll be going back to those students at the end of the term to see what they believe the influence has been. It is also being used in other courses and as resource materials for co-curricular activities. It can be integrated into core and workforce courses. What we hope that students will get introduced to this in this first course and then have those materials available as they move through other courses where 7 habits might be infused. We have different formats for the use. It can be as supplemental materials. Many are using it in hybrid sections. But because we require this course, we want it to be able to be available for online courses as well. The next slide will show you that these are some of the learning outcomes that have been established over the years for both this 0170 course as well as the other one, as the other 0370. These are the outcomes and skills that we shared with Franklin Covey at the beginning. The next slide shows you, as we worked with them, how we took those competencies and habits, talked about what we want students to do and how we want them to feel as a result of having been through this entry class in preparation for their time at the Alamo Colleges, and those were aligned with the habits as a starting point for what would be in this course. An example, the third one, they are accountable for their learning and success. We know that engagement and responsibility by the student is important. You can see what we established as what we want them to be able to do and how we want them to be able to feel, and that it is aligned with habits 1 and 3 of 7 habits. And now I know Michael will share with you something about the course and what they're doing now to help us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to join you this morning, this afternoon, wherever you may be in the country. Thank you for joining us today. And thanks to Achieving the Dream and Dr. Silva, Dr. Fabianke. This is quite a special relationship that we have together, and I think it's a very unique case about how to bring leadership to scale at an institution. You're seeing here kind of a higher level look at leadership skills mapped with these 21st century essential skills that we've been talking about, mapped with each of the habits. And I will walk through the habits here in a moment so you get a better feel for that content. But I just wanted, before we go forward, I just wanted to just address for a moment this whole notion of leadership and a leader in every chair. What we're saying is that as students, faculty, and staff all become not only familiar, but internalize the principles associated with the habits, that they're able to be more effective as leaders. And so we equate learning and living the 7 habits as the foundation of leadership. It certainly isn't all there is to do. But because these principles are so basic, they're so fundamental, they serve as that foundation. Let me just take you a step back 10 years. This is what you're seeing here is one college who has been integrating the 7 habits in the classroom, a 3-semester class for 10 years. This is aggregate data over 10 years. This is course outcome survey results over those 10 years based on 14 questions on this survey. Let's take a look at a few of these for an example. Question 1 essentially is how much the student feels they need to learn these essential skills, that they're important to learn. And question 2 is how effectively did the course do it? And you'll see that, that the majority strongly agree that they need them and that by learning the 7 habits fulfilled that need. I'll quickly walk through the other questions. Question 3 was the degree of impact on my work role. So did the 7 habits impact my work role? 4, the impact on my role as a student. 5, improvement in future relationships. 6, compared with other courses, how much will I retain? 7, how much do I see that this course improved my current relationships? 8, an increase in self-awareness. 9, improvement in time management skills, prioritization skills. You'll see question 9 that that's the only one that they don't strongly agree, and I'll come back to that in a moment. 10 is an improvement as an effective student overall, like attendance, homework completion, grade improvement, teacher relationships. 11, it taught life balance. 12, agree to which developing a personal mission statement was significant. 13, continue to study and teach the principles. And 14, I would recommend this class to others. So you could see across the board, very strong agreement. So this data, along with dozens of others, just was a kind of evidence of that led us and motivated us to create a course. And so we've just recently developed the 7 Habits of Highly Effective College Students course. And you'll see here that it involves not only the 7 habits as the core, but other student success content. So foundations of leadership, we teach paradigms, principles of effectiveness. Habit 1 is all about taking responsibility for learning, and we address how to study. Habit 2 is all about developing a personal mission statement. Here we also link writing a college paper. Habit 3 is all about prioritization and being able to translate values and principles into my daily and weekly schedule. Here we also address studying for tests. Think Win Win is all about an abundance mentality. The confidence that a student has to be able to think about wins for others. We also address critical thinking. Habit 5 is the skill of empathic listening and also the ability to make and communicate effectively by good presentations. We address presentation skills. 6 is the fruit, where we learn to help them work effectively in teams to find synergistic third alternative solutions. We also have included how to read college textbooks. Sharpen the Saw is the habit of renewal, where we help them stay sharp mentally, physically, socially, emotionally, and spiritually. We also talk about money management, and we put it all together into a complete student success package. Moving on to the next slide, I wanted to just show you some of the contributing academic experts who were involved. Franklin Covey, the principal author of the book, who's the son of the late Dr. Stephen R. Covey, is the primary author, but we partnered with academic leaders to bring content, which we call academic pro tips. Trevor Dawes is president of the Association of Colleges and Research Libraries. Craig Escamilla is a management instructor at Lamar University College of Business. Joe Knight, president of the Business Literary Institute in Los Angeles. Dr. England, Dr. Halpern, Dr. Rosakis, Dr. Zadina, all leading luminaries in their field. We have created a course with student materials that are an interactive, based on using technology, an interactive HTML ebook that allows the student to have access to not only the content, but video content, assessments, apps, exercises, and interactive materials that if you're interested in our Q&A session, we'll be happy to talk more about. The program follows a success formula where we help them focus on a compelling why. Really get clear about why I'm here and what do I want to achieve. I mean, really peel the onion and get to a core reason for being in college. Clear about their goals. Combine that with academic skills, which we've just talked about, some of those key skills. And then you map that with effective life skills. Learning the 7 habits, we believe, is a formula for being successful in college and in life. This is a screenshot of the ebook, which we have put into a platform called Bookshelf, which is an e-reader from VitalSource CourseMark. And they have the ability to stream video content, which is shown here as an example. Moving on to instructor materials, we've created a full 3-credit-hour college course if an institution chose to deliver it that way, where instructors have access to all the online resources, a full course syllabus, 38 lesson plans, instructor preparation materials. We've given the instructor classroom videos, 29 award-winning videos to be used in the classroom, and other materials. The students have access to a mobile app, which gives them additional features and materials. We also wanted to extend to each of you on this call today a session code, a session ID number that will unlock all the features of this app. So if you go to download Living the 7 Habits app on Android or iOS, and you enter the following code, you'll be able to unlock all the features that are listed here. And if you'll be prepared to jot this down, I'll give that to you now. We didn't put it on the chart because this will be made public, and this is just for those who have participated today. The session code is Habits 89. Habits 89, H-A-B-I-T-S 89, which is the year 1989, which is the year the 7 Habits How Effective People was published. We're really excited to be able to bring to bear technology in a way that will allow these principles to become more accessible to more students in more effective ways. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Michael, and thank you, Dr. Silva and Fabianke. I'd love to take questions now from the audience, and audience members can either type their question into the question pane or click the raise hand icon. And what we can do is we can start off with a question that we have here, which is infusing leadership and principles of leadership through a system really the most important element of this, or how does that strengthen the ability for this to really have an impact on each of the students?
This is Joe Carroll. As we've discussed this, we believe that students have got to have not only the skills, but they have to have the experience of understanding and seeing themselves as leaders. And that will happen as they do that through all of their experiences at the Alamo Colleges, both within their courses and outside. We have a plan to develop a certification, an internal Alamo Colleges leadership certification that students can work toward as they spend their time here. So it is, again, the experience as well as the knowledge.
This is Adelina Silva. Also, to add to Dr. Fabianke's statements, our students initially, our Student Leadership Institute graduates that had gone through the 7 Habits would actually provide feedback and say, this that we're learning would be wonderful if it were reinforced with interaction among others at our campuses, including, but not regarding just faculty, but our advisors, our staff members, anyone with whom we come into contact with. So our current plan, as we're rolling this out, is that all advisors, all financial aid folks, all staff members, all call center individuals, and our faculty will speak the language of the 7 Habits, will integrate the 7 Habits into their teaching and their curriculum, will be able to have conversations. And so this reinforcement is totally enveloping the student, and it's totally reinforcing what they're learning when they initially go through the 7 Habits in either their student development class or their learning frameworks class, or even in our Student Leadership Institute as it now sits. So whatever it is that they've already trained will be reinforced and put to practice by the experience that they're having at the Alamo Colleges. And we will be able to certify based on that exposure and that behavior that demonstrates that they have those competencies. We're really excited about this, and we're really excited about the great challenge to take it to scale for all of our students, not just a select group.
Terrific. A question from the audience: are the Habits courses able to be contextualized based on a particular student's program or pathway?
Well, we are in the process of putting all of our programs under 6 career, what we're calling Alamo Institutes. And we do plan in the future, beginning with this Student Development or Learning Frameworks course, to have students learn more about their career interest and pathway as they move through that course and into other courses. So yes, those essential skills would be integrated into all of this.
Great. And to Alamo Colleges, what specific modes of assessment do you use for the 7 Habits?
Well, right now, we will just be getting feedback from students from this first group going through the 7 Habits as part of this initial course. What we want the assessment to actually end up being is their responses, perhaps through a portfolio of how they have lived these 7 habits and integrated them into their experience here and outside of the Alamo Colleges.
Yeah, and currently in the Student Leadership Institute, which is not necessarily at the same level that we're going to, is that we have leadership labs where we do reflective observations. We have to report back on which habit is being demonstrated, and so we have a procedure to do that piece, but this is just the institute. We really are taking it now to the academic scale, and so that's the work in progress.
I'll add just a little bit of response to that question, which I think is an important one regarding assessment. The course itself has assessment built in, so there's tests and quizzes throughout. There's a midterm exam and a final exam for the course. So there's assessment built in for the course, and then on the more macro leadership level, associated with the program is a personal leadership certificate awarded by Franklin Covey, co-branded by the institution, that is earned with the completion of a certification exam, a computer-based exam where the student will sit and be able to be a successful completer. There may be other requirements that the institution will put in place for the student. As Dr. Fabianke mentioned, a portfolio of leadership activities where we're measuring more than just knowledge or awareness of, but application of the habits and internalization of leadership principles. So our intent is to validate on the back end with a certification program and the offering of a leadership certificate that not only will be meaningful to the student, but will be recognized in the marketplace by employers or four-year institutions as someone that is unique, that's set apart, differentiated, because they are able to demonstrate that they have learned, adopted, internalized habits of effectiveness, that they view themselves as a leader, that they're more confident and more capable, and they're essentially closing the gap between where a lot of graduates are right now and the marketplace is saying they're insufficient. That's one of the key insights that the Alamo Colleges gained when they brought key stakeholders together at the beginning of this process and said, what is it that you want from these graduates? And so I think assessment is vital, and it happens in a variety of ways, as we've discussed, particularly through the certification program that will be available to anyone if they desire.
Terrific. We've got one more question before we close out. Caitlin?
For Alamo Colleges, was there resistance to implement this from the faculty?
Alamo?
I'm sorry, we couldn't hear the question.
Was there resistance to implement this from the faculty and or staff?
Well, of course. There is some resistance to, I think, all new initiatives. But I will say that the faculty who have gone through the training, and there have been many who have done this as we're trying to put all employees through the training, have indicated once they've done that they are already including many of the habits in their teaching. They just weren't using this vocabulary. So, I think some of the resistance, too, is that some academics feel this is a business model. But I think as we continue to talk about it and move forward, more and more faculty are realizing that these are skills that every student should have regardless of their goal.
Thank you very much. We're out of time, and we have a number of other questions, but they'll have to be handled in follow-up from the presenters. But we are very, very appreciative of Dr. Fabianke and Dr. Silva's time, along with Michael Ockey's. This has been extremely interesting and helpful. There's the presenter's contact information is here up on the slides for follow-up, and the slides from today's presentation will be sent around tomorrow to all of those who are registered. This will also be available on ATD's YouTube site. And we are going to be taking a break for the end of the semester for our colleges and the holidays in December. And our next webinar will be on Thursday, January 15th. So we look forward to joining with everyone again. And thank you very much.